Have you ever really stopped to think about the word tomorrow? We treat it like this magical land of opportunity, a fresh start. But what if it's not a time at all? What if tomorrow was actually a trap? A really sneaky one that's quietly stealing your success? Yeah, let's get into it. Here's a powerful idea that gets right to the heart of the matter. It's this thought that, for a lot of us, the real enemy isn't that we're lazy. It's not a lack of energy. It's that comfortable, cozy, and totally deceptive promise of tomorrow. It's the one word that just lets us off the hook for today. So let's make this personal for a second. Think about that one project, that goal, or even that new habit you've been meaning to start. When were you going to get to it? If your first thought is tomorrow, then listen up, because this story is definitely for you. To really see how this trap works in real life, let me tell you a story about a young man named Arya from a village called Bindapur. His story is a perfect example of how just putting things off for one day can snowball into total failure. Now, the thing about Aryan is he wasn't lazy or unintelligent, not at all. He was actually a really bright kid, picked things up fast. But he had this one huge, disastrous habit. He put everything off, especially studying. His favorite phrase was always, there's plenty of time. And this is where the trap gets set, and it's probably going to sound familiar. It's a month before his final exams, and his mom tells him, hey, you should start studying a little bit every day. Aryan, super confident, just smiles and makes this very specific promise. Don't worry, I'll start tomorrow, 4 a.m. sharp. But that tomorrow never showed up. Mornings were for sleeping in, afternoons were for hanging out with friends, and by night, he was just too tired. And just like that, poof, an entire month was gone. And boom, reality hits. Suddenly, that nice, comfy cushion of tomorrow has completely disappeared. A whole month of chances has been squeezed into just 2 little days. And the panic, well, it's starting to kick in. Okay, so this is the part where the bill for all that procrastination finally comes due, all those empty promises of tomorrow come crashing down, and Aryan has to face the mess he's made. So what's his plan? Oh, it's the classic, desperate, last-ditch effort. He decides he's just going to pull an all-nighter. He's going to cram an entire year's worth of schoolwork into a few panicked hours. The academic Hail Mary. But as you know, reality doesn't really care about our panic plans. First off, the sheer amount of stuff to learn was just insane. His head was spinning just looking at it. And then, of course, the power goes out in the village. So now he's trying to study by this tiny flickering lamp, and he's just completely exhausted. Everything that could possibly go wrong did. He wasn't prepared for anything. The next day in that exam hall, it was just torture. You can feel it, right? His heart is pounding out of his chest. He's looking at the questions, and they look kind of familiar, but he can't pull out a single complete answer. He's just sitting there, totally helpless, watching everyone else right away, knowing he's completely blown it. And yeah, the result was, well, it was inevitable. His friends, the ones who put in a little work each day, they all passed. But Aryan? He was left behind. The Tommorow Trap had officially snapped shut. Failing the test was bad, but what really crushed him was seeing the look of disappointment in his parents' eyes. Just completely ashamed and full of regret, he finally goes to his grandfather for help. This was his rock bottom, but it was also the moment that would change everything. And this brings us to the big turning point in the story. This is where one simple piece of wisdom completely shifts Aryan's entire world. So his grandfather, he doesn't yell at him, he does something way smarter. He just points to a little plant and asks him this simple, brilliant question. Can you force a whole month of growth into one single day? And Aryan, he gets it instantly. Of course not. The poor plant would die. And there it is. That's the powerful metaphor at the center of all this. Knowledge is like a plant. It needs that consistent daily watering. You can't just ignore it for weeks and then try to drown it with information at the last second and expect anything good to happen. And then his grandfather hits him with this incredible piece of wisdom. He says tomorrow is a thief. Think about that. A thief that doesn't just steal your time, it steals the work you were supposed to do today, and because of that, it steals the happiness and success you were supposed to have in the future. So now that Aryan gets it, his story doesn't just end in failure, not by a long shot. This is where it gets good, because we get to see the amazing power that's unlocked when you just shift your focus from tomorrow to today.
And the first thing Aryan does is something really smart, something tangible. He makes himself a physical reminder. He puts up this sign on his wall that becomes his new mantra. Tomorrow never comes. Whatever is today.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It is night and day. The before Aryan, the one who always put things off, he ended up with failure. But the after Aryan, who just adopted the simple habit of reviewing his lessons on the same day he learned them, he achieved something spectacular. And the end result was incredible. By just focusing on today, studying wasn't some huge burden anymore. It just became a normal daily habit. And the payoff was huge. The kid who failed his exam ended up becoming the top student in his entire district. Okay, so let's boil this all down. What's the big takeaway for all of us from Aryan's journey? Real success, the kind that lasts, it's never built in one single heroic day. It's the sum of all those small, consistent things you do every single day. If you just focus on doing the work today, honestly, the future has a way of taking care of itself. Your biggest dreams are out there waiting for you, but they only answer to today, never tomorrow. And that really brings us to the final question, the only one that matters now. Aryan's story showed us the trap, and it showed us the escape. So the only thing left to ask is, what are you going to do with your today? What's that one small thing you can do, not tomorrow, but right now?